It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need.
This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 133.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He can kick a 40-yard field goal. Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI.
What's up, everybody? Pat Flynn here, and thank you so much for joining me today. This is session 133 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. And, we're in the middle of football season right now, NFL in the U.S., and I am from San Diego, and I'm a big Chargers fan, and we're doing pretty good this year, and I'm excited about that. And yes, I can kick a 40-yard field goal, which I'm quite proud of, although if they were actually defenders, especially large defenders who were trying to block it and rush at me, it would most likely get blocked, and I'd probably get creamed right afterwards. So if there are no defenders, I can kick a 40-yard field goal, and I'm quite proud of that. But, every football season, I can't help but think of our good friend Gary Vaynerchuk over on the other side of the country who supports the New York Jets. And I'm not going to mention how well they're doing this year, but I am thankful because it kind of reminds me of just how much influence he has had in how I've sort of built my business online. I read his book, Crush It, when I first started out, which really motivated me and helped me move forward with a lot of things. And then just last year, actually, in episode 89 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast, and I got to interview him, which was awesome. And something that came out of that interview was actually during it, he called me out on some things that I wasn't doing to the best of my ability in terms of promoting what I was promoting on social media. So typically when I would come out with a podcast episode or a blog post, I would just kind of share the link on social media. And that conversation and his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, were central in my social media strategy moving forward. And since implementing those strategies, and a lot of you who follow me on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, have directly said, wow, you have changed the way you promote, and I'm loving it because a lot of the things that I come out with now come with images, and I kind of just have purpose with what I do and how I promote it. A lot of you have actually said, wow, you're taking the advice that Gary gave you and you're actually doing it. And it has paid off big time. So if you wanted to listen to that episode, that's session 89. So you can go to smartpassiveincome.com/session89 to hear that first interview with Gary Vaynerchuk. But anyway, you may have noticed that Gary is now on iTunes. He has a podcast called #AskGaryV, which is the audio portion of the video show he has on his YouTube channel, same name, #AskGaryV. He gets questions from Twitter, similar to how I get questions through askpat.com, and he answers them just right there on his show. And he has this podcast, which is the audio version, and he and I keep trading places in the top of the marketing and management section in iTunes. And so it being football season, reminding me of Gary and his show coming out, I wanted to have him back on the show and ask him a bunch of questions that were on the top of my mind, and I know are at the top of your minds too. And so this is a shorter than normal podcast episode. I only had a limited amount of time with him, but I asked some great questions and I get even better answers, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So yeah, here's the interview with Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah, man. Do we cut off the video for better audio? Is that what you do?
Well, I was wondering if I could use the video for my YouTube channel, and then I'll repurpose it for the podcast just like you do.
Awesome.
So thanks again for taking the time. I know today's football day. I'm sort of in between checking fantasy scores, so I won't take up much of your time here.
No worries, brother.
So first of all, just welcome to the show. Again, I want to publicly thank you for the last time you were on the show. You gave me some great advice on putting the right things on the right platforms, using images along with my tweets and Facebook messages. It's just exploded my social media accounts. I'm approaching 100,000 Twitter followers. Facebook's almost at 100K also. So thank you for that advice.
No worries. I remember doing that interview and I really got into it's funny. I always do everything. And when I speak, I'm always like, if I can just get one person, right? When I speak, I'm like, if I can get one person to listen to my advice, I'll win. And something about our call, I was like, wait a minute. I think the one person that's going to listen to me is Pat himself. And then watching you do it has made me happy from afar. So congrats, brother. You deserve it.
Awesome. So for everybody out there, go listen to that episode. Show notes will be, or the link will be in the show notes. So we're going to go lightning round, a bunch of questions. You have your new show, podcast, YouTube video, #AskGaryV. Can you just promote that really quick for everybody? I recommend everybody listen to it, but why would you say everybody should listen to it?
For me, it's an opportunity to just give back to everybody who's helped me get to this point. I think the show, there's a lot of people who followed my career over the last 7 or 8 years. And what the show's doing is it's forcing me to answer new stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I think one of the reasons people like it so much and it's gone well so far is I'm not saying the same old stuff. I mean, I'm sure, Pat, one of the advantages you have is you interview people, keeps it fresh.
Right.
I've been on the road for 7 years now, talking over and over and over again. And at some point, people can regurgitate my life story to me better than I can myself. So by using that, by telling people like, hey, use the hashtag AskGaryBEE. On Twitter, we pick 5 questions every episode, and then we record my answers. It keeps it fresh. It lets me answer questions of the new stuff like, you got my advice then, but now there's Elo, and how has Snapchat evolved? And so I try to stay in my lane of the things that I bring the most value to, and that's like how to actually be a practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's separated me a little bit. I think a lot of people talk in generalisms, but like I've used these tactics to build 2 separate $50 million plus businesses that aren't me selling content, right? One's an agency to Fortune 500s, one's a wine shop. So these aren't information-based businesses. These were businesses that are businesses, and I've used communication to drive the results. And so that's a scoop. That's what I've got going on.
Yeah, I love it. And I have my show, Ask Pat, and it's been doing really well. Some people prefer listening to that actually than this episode or the Smart Passive Income podcast.
Makes sense.
Okay, so jab, 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 right hook. Give, offer. How do you know what the right hook will be? Like, how do you know what that will be? How do you validate it? Because a lot of people, they jab and then they get to that right hook. They don't know how to prepare that punch. They don't know, if it's going to succeed or not. How do you best determine if that right hook's going to land?
What's really funny? I would actually go a different way, Pat. And for everybody who doesn't know the context, my thesis of jab, 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 right hook is put out content for them, put out content for them, put out content for them, and then ask for business. And so you've got your world, and you're setting up a lot of street cred and a lot of equity by putting out these shows and hustling. And here we both are on a Sunday, right? With families and football and all these other things. And we're working. I mean, I don't know what else I don't know if anybody's confused right now, but Pat, you and I are working. And so people value that. They get good information. They get access to people. That's what you create and a lot of that stuff. And so it sets you up for a seminar, a book, a product, whatever you may be up to. Here's what I'm going to say that's going to make everybody feel better, Pat, you included. Don't be crippled by your right hook not landing. You get more at bats. See, that's the beauty. When you give a lot, you may make an offer. It might not sell as well. 6 months later, you may offer a book or a seminar or a course or whatever the heck, a consultancy company on how to do this, whatever it might be. Some of my right hooks have landed better than others, right? Mike Tyson threw one of the best right hooks of all time. He didn't land all of them. He came close in those early years, but when he did, they meant something. So for everybody who's listening, you're putting out stuff. Then you promote your $15 book. And after 3 years of giving, the book sales are underwhelming. Maybe your marketing of that product wasn't that hardcore. Maybe you didn't convince people of that right hook. There's a variable there. Maybe you didn't explain to them the value. You've given away all this stuff for free for 3 years. Why should I pay $15 for more stuff? I've been thinking, for example, Pat, about doing an Ask Gary B book as my next one.
Love it.
What would it be? It would be 100 questions from the show's history. It'd be 100 shows that I probably do in real time. Maybe even like a question from like 30 or 40 homies like you. And then my idea is make the book, right? I don't know why I showed you my key card for my hotel, but I'm trying to show a prop. Make the book a ticket into I want the front of the book to say 1 in every 5 people that buy this book will actually get their question answered, right? So I make the book a utility. That to me is a better value prop than just reading the book for people that have watched all my questions. Thus, they may buy it. You just might not be that good, Pat, at throwing right hooks, or you might not be good enough to land it every time. But you're asking when, a lot of times, and a lot of people ask that, I would say I want to take away the stress of, is this the right time? Is this the right moment? Like, that's crippling people. Throw those right hooks. Now, once every 15, 20 days, once every 50, 100 things out of your mouth, you find your cadence, but throw them.
Right. Love it. Now, you always mention, and I love this because I learned it a lot from you, is just one of the best ways to succeed is just care, give a crap, right? And that's something that, unfortunately, a lot of businesses don't do. In today's age, what is the best way to give a crap? How do you best show that you actually care for your audience?
Oh, I got a good one. So I wish I had a better prop since I don't wear a watch. The number one asset to our audiences, and by the way, you and I have ascended to a level where we have substantial audiences. I just want everybody listening, and I watch a lot of you, and I saw the people that jumped in, you and me just tweeting each other, and they're pumped. Yes. They have their 300 to 700 to 1,000 personal. If you have 9 people that follow you and your advice or your thing or your spiel, my wine reviews, your business, whatever it might be, you already now have an audience. So this is not the audacity of 2 people that have made it to some level. This is for everybody from a practical standpoint. The number one thing you can do to your audience is give them access. The one thing you and I, Pat, don't have is time.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We don't have it.
I mean, I'm so much happier to give a charity a $10,000 check than I am to give them an hour, and it's not even close, right? And that is the one thing. And by the way, that's my financial situation right now. Somebody may say, you think about everybody who's listening. You'd probably rather give a $50 check to the local charity than 3 hours of your afternoon, or even 30 minutes. Time is the asset. Pat, my answer to you and everybody else is time. When you do that, you are building such a deep connection. When I tweet out, what's your phone number? And then I sit there and I just call people and say, hey, they freak because they know the number one thing I'm giving them is time. The number one thing I don't have. Easier for me to write you a check than give you my time. So the answer is the truth, which is the number one asset that is limited, which is time and access. If you can give them that, that's why they like Ask Pat, Pat, because you're doing that for them, not people are smart, Pat. When you do Ask Pat, you're doing it for them. When you're interviewing Tim Ferriss, you're siphoning that brand equity to get an audience for you.
Right.
People taste when, my last show, I just said, people love passion, just not when it's selfish passion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in it for me. I just happen to be in it for you, all of you right now too. And that's what lets me get away with me being in it for me.
Yeah, I love that.
And I've noticed that about you from afar, which is why I'm willing to do this and want to do this.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. I appreciate that. It sort of reminds me of when you came out with Crush It and you spent time with the 1-star reviews and actually got on Skype calls and phone conversations with them. That made a big impact on me, actually. So thank you for that. Okay, Gary Vee has a thing he makes, a physical product, like a hobby thing, and you want to turn it into a business, maybe perhaps go on Etsy. How do you best sell your thing?
Oh man, this is great because I love things. Like, don't forget, that's where I came from, right? Like my private label wine brands. I sold stuff a million ways. But the first thing I would say, everybody, is you're a media company. So if you're making mittens, right? You're making mittens and you want to sell them on Etsy. If you start a blog or a video blog or a podcast, all 3 mediums, audio, video, written word, I would write about a couple things. I would write about the winter season. I would maybe write about raising children in a certain age group. I would think about who's most likely to buy mittens. And then I would level up, because if you only write about mittens, you're finished, right? And what are you going to do? You're going to talk about your mittens. Fine. And maybe even talk about yourself making mittens. And that's fine for a little while. But when you talk about raising a family, and the question is like, how do you make breakfast in the morning when you have a full-time job and you're a working mom or dad? All these things. You open up the canvas, and then the subtleties of this sits under the umbrella of a mitten company. Now you're creating content like a media company around the psychology versus just the one practical item you sell. That opens up. So that would be my strategy. If I was selling a corkscrew, I would talk about wine and beer and things of that nature, and going out and food and cuisine and travel and countries and the beer making process and home brewing and, and corks and pairing and buying wine for bosses. As a matter of fact, Pat, you may want to see this. This is actually this is good. I'm just trying to think about, like, how do I bring value to Pat? I haven't talked about this lately for you and your audience. If you go to winelibrary.com right now, I just relaunched it. And it's still in a soft launch, which is why I haven't talked about it right now. But I see you must be typing. So you're about to look and you're about to see this. Check this out. This is an e-commerce site. This is how I make my living and how my family makes their living. Like, we sell stuff. And you're looking at it right now and you can see it's 80% content.
Yeah.
What wine to buy your boss? Because I'm trying to go higher than we are. I want to provide value. And there's like funny things, as you can see, like what wines pair with Twizzlers and Snickers, because Halloween's coming. And it's almost like the BuzzFeed Upworthy, contentification of my genre. So if that spiel that I just made sense, go check out winelibrary.com and you'll start seeing where I'm innuendoing, because an article of what wines goes for a boss may work for somebody. And then all of a sudden you become aware of my wine business and you're buying your wine every day from there. Not just a one time when you said to somebody, hey, do you know what I should get my boss? And they saw this on Facebook shared and they pass on that link.
Love that. The 7 reasons tacos are actually better than friends, and the 7 things to drink with them. That's so cool. I love that. That's a fantastic answer. Everybody out there, I know I have a lot of people who sell physical products, so that's going to be completely helpful. Okay, a couple last questions here.
Yeah.
This is a very selfish question, although I know
Good.
a lot of people are
Thanks
thinking
for
about
the
this
setup.
as well. Book publishing, traditional
Yes.
versus self. I am at a crossroads. I'm
going to give you a real quick answer because I know we're running out of time.
Okay.
I have one more book under the steel with HarperCollins, and I can't see myself unless I get grossly overcompensated with an upfront check of why I won't go with my next book, my 5th in the business lineage, that will be direct to consumer published with all sorts of bells and whistles of the new way that I want to do it. So unless Pat, you have a chance, most of your listeners don't, you do have the chance of getting a hefty six-figure, possibly advance, which from a cash flow standpoint becomes exciting. And that would be your rationale to why you would do it. But anybody listening here who's like on the way up, the 2 years ago you, the 6 years ago me, if somebody's offering you a 5-figure advance, I highly recommend looking at it very carefully to do it yourself.
Even beyond the money, though, are there any reasons to do it?
The only other value is, can Barnes & Nobles and Hudson News give you distribution at physical retail? And I would say that that's becoming less and less valuable on a daily basis.
There are self-published books in those stores right now?
Are you asking me or are you making that statement?
Oh, I'm wondering. Sorry.
That I don't know, but I would say I'm probably happier to go self-publish and make all the money instead of 50 cents on the dollar than give up the sales at those 2 outlets, which are the only 2 physical outlets that really matter, and at scale. And then you've got all the local bookstores, which I love. And very honestly, the 250 indies that have supported me, I would just call personally and be like, hey, pals, hey, changing hands, I'm going direct. I'll hustle for you harder. I'll put you in my book as an like, there's just so many marketing tactics I have in my brain of why I would go to direct. And the fact that I'll probably write Ask Gary Vee, if that's what I decide to do, in 15, I'm not looking at another book until 16, 17. So by then, forget it.
How long does it take to put together a book? What's the lead time?
For me, I have a ghostwriter who and we record all my words and she transcribes it and turns it into English and helps me make a structure out of it. It's jamming with her more than anything. Anywhere between a month or 2, because don't forget, I'm talking in real. Look what I've done with Ask Gary Vee. I'm there, right? I've got it on paper or on video and audio. We'll take 100 of those. We'll categorize them into entrepreneurship, physical products, marketing, leadership, and then I'll do. I've got the basis, right? So I can go and do one push one day, saying ask questions that I'm going to pick for the book. I'm going to sit down there, pick 100 of them, 200 of them, sit down and have to answer them. That'll be 3 or 4 nights, and then create a upfront and a back end. So not a lot on this one if I go that route.
Yeah, that's cool. And for everybody out there listening, I mean, that book is, the origin is from the questions from Gary's audience. Like, you're answering exactly what they need. You're not guessing. I love that. Okay, final question.
Yeah.
You're building an app.
Yes.
It's going to go into the App Store. There's, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of apps there now. It's so competitive. I got out of that space just because it is so competitive.
It's hard.
How do you break through and stand out in that market?
First, you have to build a great app. And I'm going to say that again with dramatic pause. First, you need to build a great app. And there you go. Pat, I mean, that's the problem. 99% of stuff is crap, and people think they can market their way to victory. And I'm the biggest one of them all. I think I can do anything. And what I've learned through my 20-year career is the product's got to be good. So first it has to be good. And so and in a world where there's so many of them right now, you've got to find your niche. You've got to find your angle. It's very, very, very difficult. Number 2, you need to know how to market. You need money too. Money in the app game, unfortunately. You're going to need to know how to buy ads and retarget and Kochab and just all this, Flurry and all these platforms. You've got to hustle. Biz dev, right? You make an app for the business world and you cold email Pat Flynn 48,000 times to get on his show. You just got to hustle and you got to hope where the chips will fall based on the quality, the money in marketing, and the hustle of biz dev partnerships. And when you hustle, the key is when you email Pat Flynn 10,000 times, you got to tell Pat Flynn what you're willing to do for him, right? And so that's the part everybody forgets. Hey, give me exposure. Thanks. Doesn't work that way, right? And so I would say the app game for everybody listening is very difficult. I obviously have a $25 million seed fund where I invest in early stage companies, and we're looking at 2,000 of the best apps a year. People that are funded, $8 million in funded, Y Combinator, like creme de la creme. And of those, 1,978 are concerning to me. So it's a real competitive space.
Awesome. Gary, thank you so much for your time here. Everybody go listen to Ask Gary V. You can watch it on YouTube, listen on the podcast. He and I are sort of trading spots in the rankings in iTunes right now, which is awesome. And if you have a question for him, how do they do that and possibly get on the show?
Just go to Twitter and use the hashtag AskGaryV, GaryVee, and add the hashtag Pat Flynn Rocks. That'll mean that it came from this, and I will give those an extra oomph to get on the show.
Dude, I love you, Gary. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Gary Vaynerchuk. Such a pleasure to talk to him. I was so thankful he could come on and spend time with us and answer my questions on this episode of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. If you'd like to get connected with him and his show, just look it up. It's called Ask Gary V. That's VEE. You can find it on YouTube. It's a video show, and you can find it on iTunes as a podcast if you'd like to listen. I prefer to listen. I'm actually subscribed to the show, and I listen every single day. He answers multiple questions daily, and you could get your question featured on his show by using the hashtag on Twitter, hashtag AskGaryV. And he even said at the end of the show there to include the hashtag PatFlynnRocks, and he'll give it a little bit more attention. So I look forward to following that hashtag. So again, hashtag AskGaryV and hashtag PatFlynnRocks, which is super cool. And again, Gary, if you're listening to this, thank you so much for your time. I also want to let all of you in on a little experiment that I was running with this particular episode, something that you might be able to use, especially if you are a podcaster. So something I did, Gary and I, we recorded this interview with video. You might remember at the top of the interview him saying, Pat, should I turn the video off so we can just focus on the audio? And I said, no, let's keep it on because I want to share it on YouTube. Now, I did share a video on YouTube, but it wasn't the complete interview. What I actually did was I created a 2-minute video, which was the interview, just me and Gary, two talking heads. And I pulled some of the highlights out from that interview and I shared them on YouTube. And at the end of that 2-minute video, I said, if you'd like to listen to the full interview, head on over to... And then I gave a special link to come to this podcast on my blog. So I wanted to see how many people on YouTube or watching this on YouTube would actually come over and listen to the podcast from that video. Now, I could have put the entire video up on YouTube, but I didn't do that because personally, I don't feel like there's value there, with the video component in a 19-minute to like a 30-minute video of two talking heads just doesn't seem purposeful to me. But two talking heads in a preview for a podcast episode, that's something I wanted to experiment with. That's something that's a little bit valuable. So I wanted to share that and see if there were any results coming from that. So I have 35,000 YouTube subscribers, and I wanted to see if any of them would come over. Maybe some of you listening to this right now came over from that particular YouTube video, or maybe it was shared with you and you came over from that particular YouTube video. Now, a second level to this experiment, I actually uploaded the same video, the same 2-minute sort of promo video for this particular episode of the podcast onto Facebook directly. I didn't link the YouTube video on Facebook, but I directly uploaded to my Facebook page on Facebook because I heard if you directly upload on Facebook, you're going to get more views, you're going to get more engagement because Facebook wants to promote stuff that's on Facebook. They're less likely to show a YouTube video linked on your Facebook page to people's news feeds. So I wanted to experiment with that. And yes, I'm keeping track of the links from both of those places. So I actually have a different URL that people go through at the end of the YouTube video and a different one at the end of the Facebook page. So I'll share those results with you sometime in the future, maybe just on Facebook or Twitter, or maybe at the end of the show notes for this particular episode in maybe a week or two. I'm just curious. I'm curious to see if Facebook or if putting a video out, a preview for a podcast episode works, because I know a lot of you, when you record your podcast episodes, you have the opportunity to also record the video with it. And then B, am I going to get more traction from YouTube or Facebook? And is it true that you'd get more engagement on Facebook if you just upload directly to Facebook? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Just wanted to keep you guys sort of in the loop there. I love to experiment with these little things. And, this could potentially be a great way to start promoting podcasts in a way that, you could utilize video in a subscriber base there and perhaps get a little bit more shares and engagement because it's a little bit more valuable to see a video on social media as opposed to just a link to audio. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'll keep you posted. Just wanted to fill you in. Thank you all so much for spending time with me. I also wanted to thank today's sponsor, which is 99designs.com. This is a design service that I've used in the past very successfully, actually, and it's really unique how it works. So if you're looking to design anything for your website, maybe even a t-shirt design, whatever design item you might need, You get to put up your job description and you post it out there. And then what happens is it becomes a contest. And designers from all over the world, they actually, I think the last number I've heard is they have over 850,000 registered designers. Some of them will come and see your project and be interested in it and design something that you'll like, or hopefully that you'll like. And you'll get submissions from multiple people, different styles, different kinds, and then you get to pick and choose the one that you like. And what's really cool is it's affordable, but not only that, there's a fast turnaround time. So within 7 days, typically, you'll have a design that you love, or you get your money back. How awesome is that? So if you'd like to go and try out 99designs.com for your next design project, make sure you go through the link 99designs.com/SPI. That'll actually get you a $99 power pack of services for free, which will enable you to have your design project be shown to more designers out there. So you might get more designers than normal if you go through that link. So again, that's 99designs.com/SPI. I'd like to thank you all again for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you feel. Use the hashtag, Pat Flynn Rocks. I'm going to follow that, although, those are Gary's words, not mine. And thank you again. I appreciate it. iTunes reviews are awesome. I read every single one of them. And I'll see you in the next episode. Peace, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? Record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART.